A very good afternoon to all the students who are present today for the online lecture of second year BCom semester 3 for the subject Business Administration. I warmly welcome one and all. Now, you have been attending number of lectures in BA up till now, so you are already aware that we have discussed and completed the first and the second part, or I can say the first and the second chapter of Unit 1 that talked on human resource management and the electronic human resource management. That was nothing but HRM and EHRM. In the previous lecture, we also started and discussed few topics in the third chapter of Unit 1 that talks on human resource planning. So I had shown you the different contents that needs to be covered in the third chapter of Unit 1, out of which in the previous lecture we had discussed about the meaning of human resource planning with the different characteristics of human resource planning. In today's lecture, I shall be giving you a quick revision for both the topics we did previously, and we would begin with the new topic that talks on the different factors affecting human resource planning. So, have a quick glance at the two topics that we have covered. So, in the previous lecture, I talked on the meaning, or I can say the definition of human resource planning. So, I hope you remember the same as to why planning of human resource was important. So, I had talked about that in human resource planning, we need to estimate the manpower demand and the manpower supply. Meaning to say, one has to decide as to how many human resources are required in an organization and how many are actually available, based on which one can decide whether to recruit new people or not. So the manpower demand and the manpower supply had to be estimated, and thereby both had to be brought at a desired balance or at a desirable level, because we had talked about the cases of overstaffing and understaffing of human resources. That is to say, if an organization does not plan its human resource effectively, then it would either result into a situation of overstaffing or it would result into a situation of understaffing. And both are not desirable for any business organization to achieve its goals. Because in case of overstaffing, we had discussed that the staff in the organization is much more than what is required. We require 20 employees, but we are having some 30 or 40 employees. So in such a situation also, apparently the employees are employed, but there is no increase in the productivity. So it becomes a very costly matter for the business unit. You are giving the salary, you are giving the wages to the employees, but on the other hand, earnings are not able to be increased in the business. So they are nothing but disguisedly employed in your business. Secondly, we discussed a situation of understaffing where need of 20 employees, let us say you have some 10 to 15 employees only. So that would be having employees less than what is actually required in an organization. So even understaffing is not a good thing, because in absence of sufficient human resource, ultimately the targets won't be achieved. So I hope you are clear with the definition and why human resource planning is required. So have a quick look at the definition we studied, that according to A.R. Smith, human resource planning involves the projection of manpower demand, that is to say, how many employees you require in the organization, and the projection of manpower supply, as to how many are actually available in the same. Ultimately, as I said, both have to be brought at a desired balance. You neither want a situation of understaffing nor do you want a situation of overstaffing. So I hope you are clear with this. Students, in the previous lecture, we discussed about the different characteristics of human resource planning. Let me just give you a quick overview about the same, and then we begin with the new topic about the factors affecting HRP. have a look at every point one by one. I would not be going into detail as we have discussed every point in depth in the previous lecture. So number one, I had explained you that human resource planning is a managerial function. Why was it a managerial function? Because it was performed by the management. The human resource managers have to work for the planning of human resource requirement. Not only this, they also have to work for combining the human resources with the other resources of the organization. That is to say, how human resources can be effectively utilized with the other resources such as land or capital or machinery or raw materials, and thereby maximizing the profits. It was an all level activity. It was performed at all the levels, could be at the national level, that is to say, maximizing employment, could be at the company level where you are undertaking human resource planning, or it could also be at the factory level, that is determining the requirement for different departments in the factory. Human resource planning is beneficial to both the parties. When I say both the parties, we were talking about the individual employee along with the organization as a whole. Because when you are doing effective human resource planning, the targets of the organization would be achieved. They would be able to increase their profitability, productivity at a reduced cost. And not only this, it also helps the employee to seek employment and to seek the right job as per his skills and abilities. So it was beneficial to the both of them. If you remember, we had talked that human resource planning is the responsibility of the top level of management. Of course, the other aspects of human resource, such as transferring, promoting, training, could be assigned to the lower level also. But talking about HRP, it was treated as the top management's responsibility. So it was also for all the grades of the employees. So I talked about that it is not only for the lower level personnel or the clerks or the ordinary laborers, but also for the managerial people, the head of the department, the supervisors, the superiors, everybody. Because we had talked about one thing, that whatever is done in the organization, whichever goals or objectives are to be achieved, they are always done with the combined effort of every individual working in the organization, may it be from the lower, middle, or the higher level. So even human resource planning is for all the grades of employees. Very quickly pay attention to the remaining characteristics. So we had discussed that human resource planning is a modern concept because, of course, earlier human resources were just treated as any other factor of production. But it was only after human resource management that human resources were treated above any other resource. All the aspects of personnel included, because human resource planning not just focuses on planning the human resource requirements but also plans for their recruitment, selection, promotion, transfer, training, maybe retirement and dismissal as well. They need to decide as to how the skills can be developed and how the right person is given the right job. You have to plan for the human resource requirements for both the long term as well as the short term objectives of business unit. We had discussed that you plan the human resource in such a way that along with the long term objectives, even the short term requirements are fulfilled. And lastly, it is beneficial to the society. We had talked about the entire chain, that when the business is prospering in terms of its productivity, profitability, the human resources, on the other hand, are getting employment. They are getting the right job based on their skills and abilities. So ultimately, the entire society is going to be benefited in a way that there would be maximum production, employment, and raising standard of living, lifestyle, the purchasing power of the society. So this was all we discussed in the previous lecture. I hope that you are clear again with the definition of HRP and its characteristics. So students, now without any further discussion, let me begin with the new topic for today's lecture that talks on the different factors affecting human resource planning. Now, in the previous lecture also, I had talked as to why human resource planning is undertaken. Why should we plan the requirements? Why should we plan the demand and the supply of manpower? Why can't we just recruit the people whenever required? And why can't we release them whenever we don't require them? So it cannot be possible in terms of human resource because there are a number of factors that is affecting the demand and the supply of human resource. And that is the reason why we need to undergo an effective human resource planning. That is to say, we have to estimate the manpower demand and supply in order to avoid situations of overstaffing or understaffing. So today we shall be understanding what are these different factors that tends to affect the demand and supply, due to which the balance between the two gets shaken. So when we talk about the factors affecting human resource planning, you have to understand that the factors can be divided into two groups. You may be aware about these words already. That is to say, the internal factors and the external factors affecting human resource planning. Now, you might have heard about the words micro and the macro environment. That is nothing but internal and external environment, respectively. Those factors which are within the control of an organization, they are known as the internal factors. But on the other hand, those factors which are beyond the control, they are not within the control of the organization, of the business enterprise, they are the external factors. So these two factors you would be studying as to how they affect the human resource planning, how they affect the demand and the supply of human resource. So let us begin with the same. Before we understand each and every factor in detail, you can have a quick look at all the internal factors you have to pay attention to and the external factors. So when I talk about internal factors, you need to remember that they are within the control of the organization. So it could be the top manager's policy, the size of business, financial resources, and lastly, the technique of production. While the external factors are your technological factors, social factors, economic factors, and the political factors. So let us first begin with the discussion of all the internal factors that affects human resource planning. So students, let us begin. As I said, the factors can be divided into two groups. We begin with understanding the internal factors. When I say internal factors, they are within the control of the organization. So number one that you have to understand, it talks on the top management's policy. How top management's policy can affect the manpower supply and demand. So it basically says that if the policy of the top management is quite progressive, the policy of the top management is quite effective, then definitely the people who are working in the organization, the workforce will be satisfied. They would be already motivated to work. And so the work that is performed can be done in much easier and a faster manner, also with less number of workers. So ultimately, people won't be leaving the organizations, the transfers, the dismissals would be reduced, and the rate of labor turnover will also be low. So, meaning to say, if the top management's policy is effective, it is progressive, and it is supporting the process of human resource planning, then definitely the work can be performed in a better manner with less number of employees. So you don't have to work towards recruiting more employees for your organization. So this is something internal to the organization and it is within the control of management. So this was the first factor that could affect human resource planning. But of course, on the other hand, if the top management's policy is not effective, Complete vice versa impact would be observed, where work done will not be smooth, where the work done would be less as compared to the number of workers working. So definitely it has to be effective and progressive. Number two, it talks on the size of business. Now, this is very simple. You already know that larger the size of business, more will be the human resource required to work. A smaller business can run with less number of employees, while a larger business will have to employ more number of people. So, even the size would govern the manpower demand and supply. Of course, we can introduce some new technology with which the same work can be done with less number of employees, but basically the size governs human resource planning. Number three, financial resources. Now, whatever human resource planning is done, or we recruit the people, we train the people, it requires expenditure on the part of the company. Imagine a situation that the business is not having enough financial resources, it is suffering from the shortage of funds. In such a case, it cannot spend more on recruitment and selection of human resource or training them, developing their skills and abilities. So basically, it will have to work with the existing staff only instead of recruiting more people. So even the amount of finance that is there with any business would affect human resource planning. And lastly, very important but easy, it is the technique of production. When I say technique of production, you may have heard about those two techniques. That is to say, labor intensive technique and the capital intensive technique. When the technique involves more of labor than capital, it is the labor intensive technique. But the technique where capital involvement is more as compared to labor, it is the capital intensive technique. So even the technique affects human resource planning. If a business is going for the labor intensive technique, more amount of human resources will be required. So I hope that you are clear with all the internal factors that affects human resource planning. It was the policy of top management, whether it is progressive or effective, the size of business, whether a larger size or a smaller size, financial resources, whether there is surplus or scarcity, and lastly, the technique of production, whether a labor intensive or a capital intensive technique. I hope you are clear with the internal factors. Students, now let us talk about the next part, that is the external factors, meaning to say those factors which are not within the control of management but still affects human resource planning. We would be discussing them in detail, but first please pay attention to the factors. It could be the change in technology, that is to say the technological factors, the social factors, the economic factors, that is to say the changes in the economic conditions, and the last, political factors. We would be discussing them in detail one by one. So let us begin. Number one, external factor that affects human resource planning is the technological factors. When I say technological factors, you are aware about the fact that technology is changing at a very great pace. The technology up till now has also changed by leaps and bounds. You may have observed that few businesses which were working manually have now got through the automatic techniques of working. They have been completely automatized. So these kind of technological factors or changes in technology also affects the human resource planning, because due to change in the technology in the external environment, it brings a change even in the method that is used by the business for production or for sales. Because imagine a situation that the technology has changed, but we as business enterprises, we have not adapted to the same. It would be very difficult to survive in the competitive environment. So in order to have that competitive edge, one needs to adapt with the changing technology. And because of the same, it will affect the human resource requirement. So the technological factors that affects the number and the skill of labor required are, as I said, it could be change in the method of production, organization, distribution. Instead of performing the work manually, now we have been automatic in terms of working. There is mechanization of the transport facilities, new sources of power, and introduction of raw materials. Now, these are very few technological factors. There could be many more. But because there is a change in technology, you need to bring change not only in the number of human resource, but also you have to bring change based on the skill of labor. For example, if earlier the work could have been done manually by the workers, you required more of laborers. But now, due to the change in technology, let us say there is a new machine which can be used to do the production not only easily but even in a faster manner. So instead of recruiting more people, you now require people with the required skill to use that machine or to use that new technology. So all these technological factors affects the number and the skill of labor required. I hope you are clear with this. The second factor, the important factor pertaining to the external environment is the social factors. When I say social factors, even we people, we reside in a society, and there are a number of changes taking place in the same, which would govern the human resource planning. Let us read which are those factors. So the major factors influencing human resource planning are, now pay attention, these are all factors pertaining to the society. When I say society, we are talking about the population and its characteristics. So the factors are definitely population, the education and the training, that is to say, how far the people are educated and trained. Social mobility of people. Social mobility means how far the people can be transferred from one place to another. Because if there is an easy mobility of people, it will be very easy to transfer them. Also, the state policy of employment for the local population. Sometimes the state or the central government comes up with a law regarding reservation of some employment for a certain category of people. So even that has to be taken into consideration. The supply of labor will depend on the average size of family, the average age of marriage, the age structure of population. So whenever you have established a business enterprise, in a certain area, the supply of the labor would largely depend on the population surrounding it. And in the same, how far the people are educated and trained, how far can they be mobilized, that is to say, transferred. Also, what is the size of family, what is their age. So all these factors would affect as to how many workers can you recruit. If you want skilled or semi-skilled workers, it will also depend on whether the people surrounding are educated and trained or not. So definitely these sort of social factors, factors pertaining to the society, would affect the human resource demand and supply. As I said, there could be some reservation policy of state or the central government, the pressure of public opinion and the trade unions only to recruit a certain category of workers. There could be some rules about dismissal. So even these factors would affect as to how and which workers needs to be recruited. It may be that there is a reservation that women have to be employed or only a certain category of people will be employed. So all these factors will affect a business and its recruitment policy. So I hope that you are clear with the first external factor, that was the technological factor, and the second that talks about the social factors. Let us move ahead. The third factor that you see, it is the economic factor. Now, when I say economic factor, you must be aware from the very word that we are talking about the economy and the changes revolving therein, the changes taking place in the economic situation affecting the human resource planning. When we hear the word economic conditions, we also understand the term trade cycles. We understand how the economy moves from boom to depression to recession, again goes to revival. So this process is continuous. Let us say if the economy is going through a process of depression or recession, already the demand for the products have gone down, the purchasing power of people is already lower, and so you would not be recruiting more people, right? So it is not proper also to recruit people in large number during such a phase of economy. So there are a number of other changes also taking place which would affect the human resource planning. To name a few, we can understand one cycle that I have kept here, that with the new technology, we adopt new methods of distribution and sales, but because of which there is increase in the output and employment, because we want to produce more, we want people also who can produce more, so it will lead to economic growth. This is one example that I have stated pertaining to the economic factors. There could be many. It could be the cyclical fluctuations or a trade cycle. So the human resource planning must be designed according to the level of economic development. When the economy is moving towards the developed state, that is to say there is high demand for the products and services, you would require more amount of people to work for that increased demand. But on the other hand, when the economy is struck with depression or recession, you won't be working for increased production. You don't want increased supply as there is no demand in the economy. So all these factors affects the demand and the supply of human resource. I hope you are clear with the same. We move to the last but not the least external factor affecting human resource planning, that is the political and the legal factors. Now this is very simple yet interesting. There are some three factors basically with which the human resource planning is affected, that comes under the purview of political and the legal factors. That is to say, you might have heard about it, the foreign policy of government, number two, the industrial laws, and number three, the monetary policy. Let me explain to it one by one. The first that you see, it is the foreign policy of government. When I say foreign policy, we are talking about the government norms pertaining to imports and exports. Let us say if on a very fine day government puts restrictions on the imports. By imports I am meaning to say bringing goods from outside the boundary of your country. So if restrictions are imposed on imports, if government is emphasizing on self-sufficiency, then definitely the demand for the domestic goods will increase. The local industrial goods demand would increase, because of which the requirement of labor supply will also increase. So this was all about the foreign policy. When we talk about the industrial policy or the industrial laws, there are some laws that there might be some restrictions on the wages, on the bonus, on recruitment, dismissal. So even based on the government laws pertaining to industry, the human resource planning will be affected. You might have heard about the Minimum Wage Act. So there are a number of such laws being imposed by the government. Lastly, there could be the monetary and the fiscal policy that you are aware of. So even those policies may have favorable or unfavorable effect on the demand of the goods and services, based on which the labor requirement would change. It would increase with the increase in the demand of the products and services and decrease with the decrease in the demand of goods and services. I hope that you are clear with all the factors that we have done. These were the factors affecting human resource planning, internal and the external factors. That is to say, those which are not within the control being the external factors, and those which are within the control being the internal factors. You have understood internal factors such as the policy of management, the size of business, the financial resources, and the technique of production, while you have understood the external factors such as technological, social, economic, and the political factors. I would give you a minute, have a quick glance at whatever we have covered today. So this was the summary. This is the crux of whatever we have discussed in today's lecture. I hope that you are clear with the topic for today. Any doubts, any queries, feel free to post them in the Google Classroom of the respective class, and I shall be answering to them at the earliest. Thank you so much for the day. Until then, happy learning.